Okay, today we're going to work on simplifying rational expressions. Yesterday we did the polynomials, how you had to factor them out. The reason that this comes after factoring polynomials is because all you're really doing is factoring polynomials and then figuring out which you can cross out. So when we look at factoring, we're looking at what they have in common, right? And so if we're looking at a simple monomial term here that's a rational expression, which means it's one single term, there's nothing being added on, like x squared, nothing like that, but it's being divided by 42x squared. Now, 36x cubed is really the same as 36 times x times x times x, and that's divided by 42xx. Okay? Now, first we have to simplify this fraction. So there's multiple ways that you can do that. One would be to put it in your calculator, 36 divided by 42. That'll give you a decimal. And then you take that decimal and push math, enter, enter, and it will convert it back to a fraction in the lowest form. The other way is just to realize that 6 goes into 36. So we would factor a 6 out. And 6 goes into 42. That's why you can pull a 6 out in front. And then 6 times 7, xx. Now 6 divided by 6 is just 1, so those cancel. Did I say 6 divided by 7? I meant 6 divided by 6. Then you have x divided by x, so those cancel. X divided by x, and you're left with one x on the top, and then the 6. So it's 6x over 7, and then there was a negative. I should have carried through all this. And that's your final answer. Now I complicated it more than it even needed to be. If you could see that a 6 goes into both of those, you could just automatically know that that's going to be 6/7. The other way that you can do it is there's 3 x's on top, there's 2 on the bottom, so just do 3 minus 2. So that would just give you 1x left up on the top. Okay? If we look at this one, 16 divided by 16, those are going to cancel each other out. And then you have r squared over r to the third. So it would be 2r's, r times r, over r times r times r. Those cancel, you're left with 1 on top over r. Because everything disappeared on top, it's just a 1. Now the other way you can do that is you can do the whole 3 minus 2 thing again, right? So you take the bigger number, 3 minus 2, and then wherever the bigger number was, that's where the r would be left at. The other way you can look at that is r squared over r to the third. You can still just do 2 minus 3, which will give you r to the negative 1, because 2 minus 3 is negative 1. And then anytime you have a negative exponent, it means it moves to the opposite side. So if it's on top, like it is now, r to the negative 1, it moves to the bottom, and you get rid of the negative. So it'll be 1 over r. So a bunch of different ways to do it. Whichever rule that you know the best, that's the easiest way. Unfortunately, that's not as complicated as it gets. It gets much more complicated than that. Okay? So, first, we have to figure out what would be in both terms on the top here. And it's a 2. We can factor a 2 out, because 2 goes into 2r and 2 goes into 4. So when you factor a 2 out, it's basically dividing by 2. So that would leave you with an r minus 2. And that's over r minus 2. Now anytime you have a subtraction or an addition in here, you can't cross them out unless it's exactly the same. So it's not like I could look at this and say, well, there's an r and an r, and I can cross those out. You can't do that. It has to be if it's multiplied by something. Now if it's exactly the same, like r minus 2, you can cross out the r minus 2's. All you're left with is 2. On this one, is there anything that can get pulled out of x minus 4? There's no common terms. So that's just stuck with x minus 4. On the bottom, is there anything that can come out of 3x squared and negative 12x? Well, we could pull 3 out because 3 goes into 3 and 12. And you can pull an x out because there's 2 x's here and 1 x here. Now, if we pulled a 3x out, there would only be 1 x left in the front term. And then 12 divided by 3 is 4, so it would be minus 4. Now I have an x minus 4 and an x minus 4. I can cross those out. What's left on top? It would have to just be a 1 over 3x. Look at the next question. 15a minus 3 divided by 24. So you have to figure out what goes into 15a and 3. And that would be a 3. So you would be left with 5a minus 1. And then that's over 24. And so now you just have to see, does the bottom have 5a minus 1 in it at all? No, obviously. But can you divide 24 by 3? Yes. So that would be 5a minus 1 over 8. Because 24 divided by 3 is 8. So you would have 3 times 8. Your 3's would cross out. So still pretty easy so far. Now we get into the more complicated ones. This is where we have to factor the trinomials. So we have to figure out what multiplies to give us 12, what multiplies to give you x squared. So x squared is just going to be x and x. It's like the reverse of FOILing. So now it has to be what multiplies to give you 12 and adds to give you 8. So I list out my factors. There's a 1 and 12. 1 plus 12 is 13 though, so I know that's not it. There's 2 and 6. 2 plus 6 is 8, so that's the right answer. X plus 2 and x plus 6. Now because this was a plus and this is a plus, you know that these are going to be plus and plus. On the bottom, you have to figure out what multiplies to give you x squared. That's going to be an x and an x. And then on the back side, what multiplies to give you negative 18. So you know one of them is going to be a plus and one of them is going to be a minus, because that's the only thing that can multiply to give you a negative number. So you have to multiply to give you negative 18 and combine to give you positive 3. So factors of 18, 1 times 18. Well, 1 minus 18 or 18 minus 1 would either give you 17 or negative 17. That's not 3. So let's try 2 and 9. 9 minus 2 is 7. 7 is not 3. Try 3 and 6. 6 minus 3. There you have it. It's 3. Now, because it's a positive 3, the 6 has to go with the plus. If it was a negative 3, the 6 would go with the minus. Also, you have a good hint as to what it's going to be. In these problems, generally, something's going to cross out. And so you're going to look to see if the bottom is going to have an x plus 6 or an x plus 2 in it. Those cross out. You're left with your answer, x plus 2 over x minus 3. Okay, next one. Let's factor the top out. What multiplies to give you x squared, x, and x? And what multiplies to give you 18? Well, luckily we have our factors over here written. So if it's a positive 18 and a minus here, that means that it's going to be a minus and a minus in here. So now what can combine to give you negative 11? Well, negative 1 minus 18 will give you negative 19. No bueno. Negative 2 minus 9, that gives you negative 11. So this is going to be a minus 9 and a minus 2. I don't know why I just did that. minus 9, minus 2. Okay, so that's your heads up. So when you factor out the bottom, you're going to look for what could possibly be a minus 2 or a minus 9. So x and x. What multiplies to give you negative 8 and adds together to give you a positive 2. If this is a minus and this is a plus, it tells you that this is a minus and this is a plus. Now, I know 9 doesn't go into 8 at all, so let's try 2. And because it's a minus 2 up here, I'm going to say it's a minus 2 here. 2 times what gives you 8? It's got to be 4. Negative 2 plus 4 will give you a positive 2. Those cancel out. You're left with x minus 9 over x plus 4. They only get worse. Here we have a coefficient out in front of the r squared. So let's see if this 3 can go into anything else in the top. Does 3 go into 39? Yes. Does 3 go into 90? Yes. So we're going to factor a 3 out first. This is r squared. 39 divided by 3 is 13. 90 divided by 3 is 30. And we still have r squared minus 3r minus 70 on the bottom. Now we can factor this out. So we have 3. What multiplies to give you r squared? It's going to be an r and an r. What multiplies to give you 30? Well, it could be 1 and 30. Now it's a positive 30 and a minus 13, so that tells you it's a plus and a minus, or minus plus. It doesn't really matter at this point. 2 and 15. So 1 minus 30 would give you negative 29, which is not negative 13. 2 minus 15 gives you negative 13. So it tells you it's a plus 2 and a negative 15. Then on the bottom, r times r gives you r squared. Now we have to figure out what multiplies to give you 70. But the thing is, I do have a good hint. It's probably going to be 2 times 35. That's a minus and a minus, which tells you this is a plus and a minus. So 2 minus 35 will give you negative 33. So let's try 15. 15 times what would give you 70? I don't think that works either. Okay, 15 times so when we try to do 15 times something, that does not give us the 70. So we have a problem. It's not going to be either of these two things. It can't be 2 and 35, and it can't be 15 and something. So let's look and see if we can even factor this bottom out. So 70, 1 and 70, 2 and 35, 3 does not go into 70, 4 does not go into 70, 5 goes into 70, 5 times 14, 6 doesn't go into 70, I don't believe. 7 and 70 go together, or 7 and 10 go together. And that's going to be what our numbers are here in the middle. So it's going to be a minus 10 and a plus 7. What does that do for us? Can we cross anything out in this case? Sometimes people will look at this and they'll say, well, there's the 15 and the 10, and you can factor a 5 out. You can't do that. It's not allowed. So there's nothing that can simplify here. We are left with this as our answer. That is simplest form. It's ugly. It's not, doesn't seem right, but that is what it is. All right, this one. Does anything go into the top? Every term on the top? No. So we have to factor already. X times x gives you x squared. Now it's a minus and a plus, so you know it's going to be a minus and a plus. What's going to multiply to give us 80 and add to give us 2? That's going to be an 8 and a 10. On the bottom, we have 2x cubed minus 24x squared plus 64x. We can factor out a 2x from all of those. That leaves us with x squared minus 12x plus 32. Now if this is a plus and this is a minus, then that tells us that this needs to be a minus and a minus inside of here. X minus, X minus. Well, multiplies to 32 and adds together to give you a negative 12. It would be a minus 8 and a minus 4. Now your X minus 8s cancel out. You're left with X plus 10 over 2X times X minus 4. Okay, you can get started on your assignment, and then we will go over it on Friday.